Bigfoot can speak, not gesture, not grunt, not mimic, actually speak with language, syntax, and intention. I'm 58 years old now, and for the last 23 years, I've been keeping the most extraordinary secret in human history. My name is James Holloway. Most people call me Jim. I used to work as a veterinary technician for 12 years before I bought 80 acres in the most remote part of the Olympic Peninsula I could afford. That was 2002, right after my divorce. I needed isolation, needed to start over somewhere nobody knew me or cared about my failures. What I learned from caring for a critically wounded Bigfoot that year didn't just challenge everything science believes about these creatures. It revealed an intelligence so profound, so unmistakably human, that it forced me to question what separates us from them at all. For 2 decades, I've honored a promise I made, a promise that speaking would endanger not just one life, but potentially an entire hidden people. But circumstances have changed. Time is running out, and some truths are too important to die with me. Keeping this secret cost me my marriage, my friendships, and any semblance of a normal life. But revealing it now might cost something far greater, the safety of the only being who ever truly understood me. This is the story of how I became the only human to have real conversations with Bigfoot, and why I can never tell anyone his real name. Because yes, he has a name. He has memories, stories, grief, humor, and questions about us that made me reconsider everything I thought I knew about consciousness itself. October 17th, 2002. Temperature dropping to 38 degrees, light rain transitioning to freezing drizzle. I was checking my trapline about 3.5 miles from my property, looking for whatever predator had been harassing my small flock of chickens. I'd been divorced 6 months. Bought the land with what little the settlement left me. The solitude felt right, or at least it felt like what I deserved. The smell hit me first, copper tang of blood mixed with something else, something musky and wild that I couldn't place. Then the sound, a groaning that wasn't quite human but too resonant to be any animal I knew. I'd worked with enough injured creatures to recognize agony when I heard it. Broken branches suggested something massive had crashed through the understory. The blood trail was fresh, dark against the moss, too much of it. Every instinct told me to turn back, but 12 years of veterinary training overrode caution. Something was hurt badly, and I had my medical kit. I found him in a clearing about 40 yards off the trail, slumped against a fallen cedar log. Even sitting, he had to be 7.5 feet tall. Massive shoulders and chest, covered in dark reddish-brown hair matted with blood. His left leg was clearly broken, compound fracture with white bone visible through torn flesh. His breathing came in labored heaves. I froze 15 feet away, my hand instinctively finding the strap of my veterinary kit. He turned his head toward me, and our eyes locked, deep amber brown, unmistakably intelligent, filled with pain and unmistakable fear. Not animal fear, the fear of someone who knows exactly how bad their situation is. We both held still, barely breathing, evaluating each other. It lasted maybe 20 seconds, but felt like forever. In those eyes, I saw recognition, awareness of me as an individual, not just a threat. Terror gripped me, every cell screaming to run. But I'm a vet tech. Pattern recognition kicked in automatically. Compound tibial fracture, deep laceration on the right forearm, possible internal bleeding based on the breathing pattern. He'd die without help, probably within hours from shock and blood loss. He made no aggressive move, just watched me with those disturbingly aware eyes, his massive chest heaving. I saw intelligence there, suffering intelligence that understood its predicament. I spoke without thinking. That leg's bad, real bad. You're going into shock. His eyes followed my words, his head tilted slightly, listening, processing. I took one step forward, hands visible, my kit obvious. I can help. Or I can leave you to die, your choice. He didn't move. Acceptance or resignation, I couldn't tell. Okay, I said, my voice shaking. I'm coming closer. Don't kill me. Why didn't I report it? The thought crossed my mind. But I'd seen how wildlife specimens were treated, studied, exploited. Even if authorities arrived in time, which they wouldn't, this creature would spend whatever life it had left in a cage being poked and prodded. Those intelligent eyes demanded a different response. I spent 2 hours in that forest. I splinted his leg with branches and trauma wrap from my kit, cleaned and sutured the forearm laceration, 17 stitches, administered veterinary antibiotics, calculating the dosage for a large mammal. He allowed all of it, gripping the fallen log, making low groaning sounds, but never threatening me. I talked the entire time, explaining what I was doing, keeping my tone calm. Finally, shaking from exhaustion and adrenaline, I said, "I have a barn, isolated, warm. Can you walk if I help?" He looked at me, a long, evaluating stare, then he nodded. A single, deliberate nod. My world tilted. "You understood that." Another nod. "Jesus Christ," I whispered. "Okay, let's get you somewhere safe." It took over 3 hours to move 3.5 miles. He leaned heavily on me. I nearly collapsed under the weight multiple times. We stopped every 50 yards. By the time we reached my property after dark, I was certain he'd go into cardiac arrest. I got him into my converted barn workshop, settled him on thick bedding, started IV fluids with my veterinary supplies. He lost consciousness from exhaustion and shock. I collapsed beside the makeshift bed, watching his massive chest rise and fall, thinking 2 things. What the hell have I done? And I can't tell anyone ever. The first 48 hours, I didn't sleep. Changed IV bags every 6 hours, monitored vital signs, pulse at the wrist was 168 beats per minute resting, surprisingly strong temperature, elevated to 102.5 degrees. I assumed fever, though I had no baseline. Hour 12, I picked up my phone to call wildlife authorities. He woke, looked directly at me holding the phone, and his eyes filled with unmistakable fear. I put the phone down. "I won't," I told him. "I promise." He closed his eyes and seemed to relax. He'd understood. That's when I knew. Authorities meant capture, study, probably captivity or worse, secrecy was the only ethical option. I made the first of many supply runs, buying excessive amounts to avoid repeated trips. The practical challenges were immediate. He needed 6,000 to 8,000 calories daily during healing. He preferred fruits, nuts, and raw vegetables, would eat cooked meat, but seemed to prefer vegetation. I started buying massive quantities, 50-pound bags of potatoes, crates of apples, bulk oats. The employees at the feed store joked, "You feeding an army, Jim?" I had to drive to 3 different stores to avoid suspicion. Week 2, an infection developed. His fever spiked to 104 degrees. I stayed in the barn for 72 hours straight, giving him sponge baths to reduce the fever, terrified he'd die. Hour 68, the fever broke. He touched my hand lightly, a squeeze of gratitude. That simple gesture kept me going. I started trying to communicate beyond basic care. Week 3, I established a yes-no system, nod for yes, head shake for no. Testing. Are you in pain? Nod. Do you want water? Nod. Should I leave you alone? Shake. He watched me constantly, studying me with an intensity that was sometimes unnerving. Week 5, I brought paper and pencils. He was fascinated. I drew simple pictures, tree, sun, water. He took the pencil, held it awkwardly but deliberately, and drew. His first drawing was crude but clear, a Bigfoot figure, a smaller one beside it, both fallen over. My heart sank. Your family? Nod. Are they gone? A slow nod. His eyes welled up. Tears. Actual tears running down that massive face. I sat beside him. I'm so sorry. He leaned against me, the first real physical trust between us. Week 9, I started talking constantly, explaining everything, reading aloud. He watched my mouth form words, seemingly fascinated. I asked him to try making sounds. He produced deep, guttural noises, not quite words, but clear effort. I demonstrated mouth positions, using whatever I remembered from veterinary anatomy. I heard him practicing when I left, low humming, trying different sounds. No actual words yet, but the intention was unmistakable. A routine established itself. 6 a.m., I brought breakfast and checked vitals. 8 a.m. Physical therapy exercises for his leg. 10 a.m. Lesson time. Teaching object names, showing pictures. We'd eat lunch together at noon. Afternoons he'd nap while I did property chores. Dinner at 5, often with me reading books aloud. Final check-in at 8. Month 2, his leg was healing well. He could stand with support. Month 3, he took careful steps with a crutch I'd fashioned. Month 4, he walked unassisted, still limping. Month 5, his strength returned. I found him climbing to the barn loft. Month 6, the leg was fully healed except for a slight limp. He could leave any time now. He chose to stay. Close calls started. Month 2, the feed store manager confronted me. "Jim, you're buying enough food for livestock you don't have." "What's going on?" I improvised. "Feeding deer through winter. They're starving out there." He was skeptical, but accepted it. I reduced my purchases there, drove to distant stores instead. Month 3 brought worse. A county inspector showed up unannounced for a routine property tax assessment. My guest was in the barn. I panicked, walked the property line with the inspector, desperately keeping him away from the barn. When he wanted to see all structures, I lied. "Barn's locked, foundation issues, dangerous to enter." He noted it, said he'd return in spring. I spent the next week creating fake foundation damage. Month 5. A lost hiker wandered onto my property, disoriented, knocked on my door asking for directions. My guest was visible through the barn window. The hiker was facing that direction. I stepped directly into his sight line, blocking the view, gave directions, offered water, and firmly but politely escorted him to the road. As he left, he mentioned, "Thought I saw someone in your barn." "Just my dog," I said. "Big one." After he left, I found my guest at the window. He ducked down when the hiker looked. He understood the danger. Month 4 brought a breakthrough I hadn't expected. I kept calling him, or the creature, which felt wrong. I told him, "You need a name. What if I call you Sam?" He shook his head no. I went through a list, Ben, Jack, Thomas. At each, a head shake. Finally, he took paper and drew carefully, not letters, but symbols, flowing and connected. He pointed at the drawing, then at himself. "That's your name?" I asked. "In your language?" Nod. "I can't pronounce that, but I'll try to learn." He seemed to appreciate the effort. I eventually shortened it to the closest sound I could make. Koa. He nodded approval. Month 6. I tripped over a bucket and fell hard on my backside. Koa made loud huffing sounds. Definitely laughter. I started laughing too. We sat there together, both laughing, the first moment of pure shared joy between us. Month 7. A major storm knocked out power. Temperatures dropped dangerously. I brought Koa to the house for the first time. He hesitated at the doorway, waiting for permission. "Come in," I said. "You'll freeze out here." He ducked through, barely fit, and was extremely careful not to break anything. He sat by the fireplace, mesmerized by flames. I made hot soup. The storm raged for 3 days. We stayed inside together. I read books aloud. Koa listened intently. It was peaceful, companionship neither of us expected. His intelligence became more apparent daily. He used tools correctly after observation: spoon, cup, pencil. He figured out the door latch, could open and close it. He understood cause and effect, turned the faucet expecting water. He showed planning, gathered favorite foods, and stored them. He remembered where I kept medical supplies. He liked classical music, especially Beethoven, seemed disturbed by loud rock. He arranged stones in patterns, wove grass into crude baskets. He knew my schedule, waited at the door at expected times. He showed cultural behaviors too. He covered his body when I entered, showing modesty. He always asked permission with eye contact before taking food. He cleaned his eating area after meals. He had a bedtime ritual, arranging his bedding a specific way. He made specific sounds I interpreted as greetings or farewells. Sometimes I found him staring at nothing, silent tears falling. Grief. Years passed. 2003 became 2005, then 2009. I obsessed over teaching Koa to speak, spent hours on phonetics, showing mouth positions. He tried, produced sounds closer to words, but not quite there. The frustration was mutual. Koa clearly wanted to communicate complex ideas. We had breakthrough moments where meaning was conveyed through gestures, but the limitations were obvious. Koa moved freely between barn and forest edge at night, always returning by dawn. I built trust that he wouldn't reveal himself. We established signals. If I left the porch light on, it meant visitors were coming. Stay hidden. My life narrowed. I lost my part-time job at the feed store, too many unexplained absences. I lived off savings and a small disability check from an old veterinary injury. Friends stopped calling. I was too evasive about my time. My sister visited once. I barely held it together. Keeping her away from the barn, I started making excuses. I like my privacy now. Fall 2003, I brought an old TV to the barn. I wanted Koa to see the human world. We watched news, nature documentaries, movies. His reactions were revealing. Fascinated by animals, disturbed by wars, confused by fiction. When a nature documentary showed a gorilla in a cage, Koa became very still. He looked at me with a heartbreaking expression, pointed at the TV, then at himself, then at the barn walls. "You think I'm keeping you prisoner?" I asked. He gestured to the open door. Where would I go? I had no answer. He turned off the TV himself and went to sleep. I lay awake realizing Koa was choosing this captivity because the alternative was complete loneliness. Spring 2006 brought a reversal. I was splitting wood when the axe slipped. Cutting deep into my calf, I collapsed, bleeding heavily. Koa appeared from the forest. He'd been nearby. He carried me to the house. I was semi-conscious, shocked at being carried so easily. Koa retrieved my first aid kit, knew exactly where I kept it. He applied a pressure bandage, had watched me do this countless times. He stayed through the night. When I woke, Koa was sitting beside the couch, his hand on my shoulder. He spoke his first sentence. "You... okay, Jim?" 4 words, clear as day. I started crying. Pain and breakthrough combined. Winter 2007, Koa showed me a drawing, a family group, Bigfoot adults, and a child. He pointed at the small one, then at himself. "That's you?" I asked. "When you were young?" Nod. He drew more. Trees falling, machines, running figures. A logging operation. His family scattered, Koa separated. He'd searched for years, never found them. The injury I'd treated happened during that search. He'd fallen while alone. "I'm so sorry," I said. "You've been alone all this time." Koa looked at me. "Not alone now." Summer 2010, something clicked. Koa began speaking in sentences, halting but clear. "Jim, I want to tell you something important." The vocabulary explosion was rapid. He absorbed words like a child, but with adult comprehension, he asked questions constantly. Why do humans cut forests? What is music for? Do you believe in spirits? We spent long nights discussing consciousness, existence, meaning. Koa's perspective on humans was fascinating and terrifying. "You are capable of great beauty and terrible destruction," he said. "Same hands that heal can kill." I learned about his people, scattered, hiding, dwindling, ancient culture, oral traditions, spiritual beliefs. Koa taught me some of their language, guttural and tonal, difficult for my mouth. I started recording our conversations, audio only to protect him. Fall 2011, Koa asked, "Why did you help me?" "First day, you could have left." I thought carefully. "I saw intelligence in your eyes. Couldn't leave a person to die." "But I am not a person," Koa said, "not to your people." "You are to me." Long silence. "You gave up much for me. Normal life, family of your own." "You are my family," I said. Koa touched my shoulder. "I did not think humans capable of this. You changed what I believe about your kind." "You changed what I believe about everything," I told him. But the outside world kept intruding. 2008. A real estate developer wanted my property to build vacation homes. He showed up repeatedly, wouldn't take no. Walked the property line despite my protests. Koa was in the forest. I was terrified the developer would see signs, structures Koa had built. The developer found one of Koa's shelters, stacked branches in a cleared space. "You have a homeless camp on your property," he said. "Security risk." "That's mine," I lied. personal retreat. He was suspicious, but backed off. I warned Koa. He had to be more careful. Summer 2009, a massive wildfire prompted evacuation orders. I refused to leave. I couldn't abandon Koa. Fire crews came to force evacuation. Koa hid in the root cellar beneath the barn. Firefighters checked all structures, opened the barn. One said, "Thought I heard something in here." "Old building," I said. "Lots of settling sounds." The fire came within half a mile. Winds shifted. The property was spared. After the crews left, I found Koa in the cellar, terrified. "Thought I would lose you," he said. "Never," I promised. 2012 brought a Bigfoot researcher who rented the neighboring property. He set up cameras, recording equipment. He came to my door with sighting reports. "Multiple witnesses saw something on your property line." I played dumb. "Haven't seen anything, just deer." He was persistent, asked to set cameras on my land. I refused. Value my privacy. He set cameras on the neighbor's land anyway. For 3 months, Koa and I were extremely careful. Koa stayed inside, no forest time. We both went stir-crazy. The researcher eventually left, disappointed, finding nothing. We celebrated his departure like a holiday. 2013, a photo appeared online, a blurry figure in Olympic forest. I recognized the background, my property. It was Koa, distant but distinctive. Internet speculation exploded. More researchers descended. I had to give an interview to local news, probably just a bear. The news crew wanted to film on my property. I refused. No trespassing. Attention eventually died down, but Koa was shaken. "They will never stop looking," he said. "Then we'll keep hiding," I replied. We both aged. My hair grayed at the temples. Old injuries bothered me more. Stamina declined. I looked older than my years. Isolation and stress aging me. Koa noticed, showed concern. He brought mushrooms from the forest, said they were medicinal. He insisted I rest more. Koa changed too. Silver hairs appeared in his auburn coat. He moved slightly slower, though still incredibly strong. His old injury leg was sometimes stiff in cold weather. He estimated his age at about 40 human years. Neither of us knew how long his people lived. We both understood time was precious. 2008, I got an old laptop, showed Koa the internet. He was fascinated by information access. He learned to type slowly, large fingers on small keys. He read voraciously history, science, philosophy. He found Bigfoot forums and sighting reports. "They make us sound like monsters," he said sadly. "Fear of the unknown," I explained. "But we are not unknown," Koa said. "We are just hidden." 2010, I played various music genres for Koa. He loved classical, especially Beethoven. He moved to music, swaying gently. "You have rhythm," I observed. "My people had songs," he said. "I remember some." He sang for me, deep, resonant, beautiful in its strangeness. I recorded it, haunting and ancient sounding. We sat in the barn, listening to rain, sharing music. Perfect peace. October 2014 shattered that peace. I noticed Koa moving slower, losing weight. He was dismissive. "I am fine." But my medical training screamed warnings. He slept more, ate less. Then came the cough, deep, wet, concerning. Late October, I found Koa collapsed in the barn. Fever of 105 degrees, delirious. Breathing labored, rapid, shallow. My veterinary knowledge was inadequate. He needed a real doctor, a real hospital, but that was impossible. Koa drifted in and out of consciousness. I tried everything I knew. Antibiotics weren't touching the infection. I was watching him die slowly. Option 1, let nature take its course. Honor his secret. Option 2, bring in help, expose everything. I was paralyzed by the choice. I remembered an old colleague, Dr. Sarah Chen, a physician who ran an outdoor clinic. We'd worked together at the veterinary clinic. She treated injured hikers. She had a reputation for discretion, treating undocumented workers without questions. I called. "Sarah, I need help. Something you can't report." "Jim, haven't heard from you in years. What's going on?" "Can't explain. Will you come? And keep it confidential?" Long pause. "Is someone in danger?" "Yes, someone very important to me." "Address?" She arrived that night. I led her to the barn, warned her, "What you're about to see, nothing in your training prepared you for this. Jim, you're scaring me." I opened the barn door. Sarah froze, her flashlight beam on Koa's massive, feverish form. "What the hell?" "His name is Koa," I said. "He's my friend, and he's dying." 30 seconds of silence. Then professional training kicked in. "Okay, let me examine him." Sarah assessed. Severe pneumonia, both lungs compromised, possible sepsis, dehydration. Koa's physiology was similar to human but different enough to complicate treatment. "This is impossible," she said. "He shouldn't exist." "But he does," I said. "Can you help him?" "I'll try." Sarah came daily for 2 weeks, brought IV antibiotics, oxygen concentrator, took blood samples, adjusted dosages based on Koa's weight and reaction. Slowly, improvement came. The fever broke after 10 days, breathing easier after 12. By week 3, Koa was conscious, weak but recovering. Week 2, Sarah confronted me. "You've been hiding him here? For how long?" 12 years. 12 years? Jim, do you understand what he represents? "He's not a what," I said. "He's a who. His name is Koa." "There could be more of them, an entire species we didn't know about." "I know. But Koa's people are dying out. He's told me they're hunted, their habitat destroyed. All the more reason to document this, protect them officially." Officially means cages, labs, exploitation. You know it does. She had no counter-argument. Week 3, Koa recovered enough to speak. Sarah was checking his vitals when Koa said, "Thank you for helping me." Sarah dropped her stethoscope. "You can talk." "Yes," Koa said. "Jim taught me, though I always could think." "I have so many questions." "I know," Koa said, "but questions lead to curiosity. Curiosity leads to searching. Searching leads to my people being found. I wouldn't tell anyone." "You already want to," Koa said. "The knowledge burns in you. I see it." She was silent. He was right. As Koa recovered, he talked more. Told Sarah and me about his people, scattered family groups across North American wilderness. Population maybe 300 to 500 individuals total, declining rapidly, habitat loss, genetic bottleneck, occasional violence from humans. Some groups so isolated they'd forgotten their own language. Koa hadn't seen another of his kind in over 15 years. "If they're dying out," Sarah said, "protecting one individual isn't enough." "What are you suggesting?" I asked. "Documentation, genetic samples, evidence to force habitat protection." "And make us targets," Koa said, "or save your species." Koa looked at me. "What do you think?" I was torn between loyalty to Koa and responsibility to his species. January 2015, Sarah made a mistake. She'd taken a photo of Koa, claimed for medical documentation I didn't know initially. Weeks later, Sarah's colleague contacted her about unusual patient. Sarah had shown the photo to one trusted person, that person told another. Within days, whispers spread through the medical community. I was furious. "You promised confidentiality," Sarah was defensive. "The medical implications are enormous. His biology could teach us..." "Could teach us what? New ways to exploit? He's not a lab specimen." Koa interrupted. "Jim, stop." We both turned. "Sarah is right," Koa said. "I am one. My people are many. If my exposure could save them..." "No," I said. "We don't know what would happen. I am already dying, Jim. The sickness may return. I am old, but my people are young. They could survive." February 2015, someone leaked the story, "Doctor claims Bigfoot patient in Olympic Peninsula." The photo, low quality but clear enough, appeared online. Media frenzy. Researchers, cryptozoologists, government agents descended on the area. My property was surrounded by media, helicopters overhead. I barricaded inside the house. Koa hid in the root cellar again. I couldn't leave, couldn't admit, couldn't deny. I gave a statement. Hoax. CGI photo, no basis in reality. But pressure was mounting. March 2015, 2 federal agents arrived. Suits, badges, FBI, or Fish and Wildlife, they wouldn't say exactly. "Mr. Holloway, we need to talk about what's on your property." Nothing but me and my privacy. "We have heat signature scans. There's a large heat source in your barn that's not you. My stomach dropped. We can get a warrant, or you can cooperate. They gave me 24 hours. That night, Koa and I sat in the barn. You must let me go, he said. Into forest. Hide. They'll find you. Thermal imaging, tracking dogs. Then what? I don't know. Sarah arrived. I can help. I have connections, lawyers, biologists who will advocate for protection. Or dissection, I said. Not if we control the narrative reveal on our terms. Koa asked, What do you want, Jim? I thought of 12 years together, thought of Koa's dying species, thought of what exposure could mean. If we do this, I said, go public, everything changes. Your life will never be yours again. My life is borrowed time, Koa said. You gave me 12 years I should not have had. If I can give my people a future. You're sure? I am sure, but I am afraid. Me too. We decided to reveal, but carefully with protections in place. 1st March 2015, we gathered allies. Sarah connected us with civil rights lawyers who argued for Koa's personhood status under law. They prepared injunctions against government seizure. Legal precedent existed. Dolphins and great apes had limited rights. The lawyers were fascinated and terrified of the case. A primatologist, Dr. Helen Martinez, and a geneticist, Dr. Rajiv Sharma, agreed to advocate for Koa's protection. They signed NDAs, came to the property. Their first encounters with Koa produced shock, awe, and scientific passion. Koa cooperated, blood samples, physical measurements, DNA analysis. The results were staggering. Koa was Homo, not Pan or gorilla, a distant human relative. Genetic analysis showed divergence approximately 800,000 years ago. Dr. Sharma said, He's not an animal, he's a person, different species but unmistakably human family. We hired a PR firm specializing in whistleblower cases. The plan? Controlled press conference, not tabloid leak. I would tell the story. Koa would appear voluntarily. Crucial for optics, scientists would present data. Lawyers would announce legal protections sought. Koa practiced speaking for cameras. I coached him. Just be yourself. Let them see who you are. What if they see me as monster, he asked. Impossible. You're the gentlest person I know. I cannot do this without you. You'll never have to. We compiled documentation, 12 years of my journals, medical records from Sarah's treatment, video recordings of Koa speaking and using tools, audio of Koa singing traditional songs, photographs showing Koa as a dignified individual, genetic analysis results, linguistic analysis of his native language. Koa recorded a video statement. He spoke about his people, their culture, language, beliefs. He described family structure, territories, traditions. He explained population decline. We are ghosts fading from the world. You have forgotten us, but we remember you. He asked for habitat protection, not fame or study his ending. I am not the last, but I could be. We need you to see us as people, not legends. The press conference was set for Seattle. At a university auditorium, security was hired for Koa's safety and crowd control. The date, March 28, 2015. The night before, we sat in the barn one last time. We can still back out, I said. Disappear? I'll sell everything. We'll go to Canada, Alaska, somewhere remote. And my people? Still dying, still hunted. I know, but I'm scared for you. I am scared too, but more scared of doing nothing. Long silence. Jim, if this goes bad, if they take me, you must find my people. Tell them what I did. Tell them to hide better. Tell them, his voice choked with emotion. Tell them one of us tried to save them. I was crying. It won't come to that. Koa pulled me into an embrace. Thank you for everything. You gave me life twice, once in forest, once by teaching me to speak my heart. You gave me purpose, I said. Before you, I was just existing. We saved each other. March 28, 2015. 200 journalists packed the auditorium. Cameras everywhere. Federal agents in back observing. Scientists front row. Lawyers stage right. I walked to the podium alone. Told the story. Finding Koa wounded. The decision to help. 12 years together. My voice shook but stayed determined. I played video clips of Koa speaking, showing intelligence. I presented scientific evidence. My final statement, what I'm about to show you isn't a creature, isn't a specimen. He's a person. His name is Koa, and he's chosen to trust humanity with his existence. Please don't make him regret it. The door opened. Audible gasps. Koa walked in, 7 feet 8 inches of undeniable presence. Cameras flashed. He moved to center stage. I stood beside him. He looked at the crowd, clearly nervous. Deep breath. Then Koa spoke. "Hello, my name is Koa. This is difficult for me. I have hidden my whole life. My people hide, always hide. But hiding means slowly disappearing. Jim taught me your language, taught me your world. He showed me kindness when I expected death for 12 years. He protected me. Now I must protect my people. We are not animals. We are not monsters. We are people. Different people, but people. We love our families. We grieve our dead. We sing. We think. We hope. There are maybe 300 of us left, maybe less. Every year, fewer. Your world grows. Ours shrinks. I am here to ask, please see us. Please protect us, not as specimens, as people, as neighbors sharing this world. I am afraid standing here, afraid of what you will do, but more afraid of silence, of extinction happening quietly while no one knows we existed at all. So I am here, I am real. We are real, and we are asking for help. 5 seconds of absolute silence. Then, standing ovation. Reporters crying. Scientists weeping. I grabbed Koa's hand, squeezed. He squeezed back. We did it. Koa answered questions for 30 minutes. His intelligence was undeniable, his compassion clear. Every answer demonstrated personhood. The live stream reached 10 million viewers worldwide. Twitter, #Koa, trending #1 globally. Afterward, police escort was necessary. Crowds surrounded the building wanting to see Koa. We were taken to a safe house. Koa was exhausted, overwhelmed. You were perfect, I told him. Was I? I feel I said too little. You said enough, you showed them who you are. Now what? Now we wait and see if the world is ready for you. The first 48 hours were chaos. Every news network covered Koa. CNN, Bigfoot Speaks. BBC, First Contact, Koa's story. Scientific American, are Sasquatch people? Debate was immediate and polarized. Believers felt validated. Skeptics claimed elaborate hoax. Scientists demanded peer review. Religious groups grappled with theological implications. The White House said, no comment pending investigation. Fish and Wildlife, assessing situation. FBI, reviewing evidence for potential fraud. Genetic evidence was temporarily suppressed. Behind the scenes, federal agents contacted our lawyers. They wanted Koa for protective custody, translation, study, and containment. Our lawyers blocked them. Koa was legally represented, had rights pending. Legal battle was beginning. Public reaction was divided. #I Stand With Koa trended. Petitions for habitat protection gathered 5 million signatures in 3 days. Vigils happened outside federal buildings. Children sent drawings. Don't hurt him. Indigenous groups issued statements. We always knew. Opposition came too. Hoax claims persisted despite failed CGI analysis. Religious extremists called him an abomination. Some hunters called him fair game. Property rights activists called it government overreach. Independent labs confirmed the DNA analysis. New species Homo denisovensis was the proposed name. Genetic diversity analysis suggested population under 500. Critically endangered. Biologists said immediate protection was essential. Anthropologists met with Koa in controlled settings. They documented his language, culture, social behaviors. Koa described traditional territories, family structures, intelligence tests scored at human equivalent levels. Emotional capacity was undeniable. One anthropologist's report, Koa is as human as anyone in this room. The differences are morphological, not cognitive. A presidential commission formed, Commission on Non-Human Intelligent Species, tasked with determining, are Sasquatch people? Do they have rights? Jim and Koa were subpoenaed to testify. My life was upended. Couldn't return home. Media siege ongoing. Property was vandalized. Death threats came from both sides. Savings depleted on legal fees. My sister stopped speaking to me. Former friends split, half supportive, half thought I'd gone crazy. Koa felt guilty. I destroyed your life. You gave my life meaning, I said. This is just complicated. We lived in the safe house. Cramped, surveilled, stressful privacy was gone. Simple evenings in the barn were lost forever. We both mourned our old life. June 2015, I testified before Congress. Told the full story under oath, presented evidence, faced hostile questions. Why didn't you report immediately? I answered, because I knew what would happen. I was right. Public sympathy swung toward me. Koa's testimony was historic. The first non-human testifying before Congress. He wore a custom-made suit, fielded questions for 4 hours, never wavered. Articulate, thoughtful, dignified. A key exchange happened. Senator, do you consider yourself a person? Koa. I think, therefore I question what I am. Is that not the mark of personhood? The senator had no response. Koa ended with a plea. I ask not for special treatment, only recognition that we exist, we feel, we matter, protect our land, acknowledge our right to exist, and we will trouble you no further. August 2015, a federal court granted Koa limited personhood status, not full human rights, but baseline protections. He couldn't be detained without cause, couldn't be experimented on without consent, could own property, could testify in court, couldn't vote yet. A compromise position that satisfied no one but gave Koa legal standing. Congress passed the Sasquatch Protection Act, designated territories in Olympic Peninsula, Cascade Range, and others, restricted logging and development, made hunting Sasquatch a federal crime punishable by 20 years, allocated funds for monitoring and protection. Environmental groups celebrated. Industry groups were furious. Koa became a spokesperson for his people. He traveled carefully, with security, to speak at universities, conferences, even the UN Assembly. His message was consistent. We exist, we matter, leave us in peace. He became a symbol of conservation and indigenous rights. Expeditions were funded to find other Sasquatch. Koa consulted on search areas. Few sightings were confirmed, no sustained contact made. Koa's frustration grew. They are too afraid now. My exposure made them hide deeper. I was hired as a consultant on Sasquatch biology and behavior. Finally had a paid position, financial relief. I worked with protection teams and researchers, always advocating for minimal interference. Tension existed with scientists wanting more access. Jim and Koa no longer lived together. Koa was in a specialized facility, comfortable but supervised. I visited frequently, but we were monitored. Privacy was impossible. We both grieved the loss of barn life. I miss when it was just us, I said once. Those were my happiest years, Koa replied. Koa's existence revolutionized anthropology and primatology. It forced rethinking of intelligence, consciousness, and personhood. Ethical debates about treatment of great apes and dolphins intensified. The Koa effect became a movement toward recognizing non-human persons. Other countries adopted similar protections. An international treaty was formed, Convention on Non-Human Intelligent Species. Koa's testimony was used in court cases worldwide. Legal precedent for personhood kept expanding. Sasquatch in popular culture shifted from joke to symbol of marginalized voices. Children's books and documentaries appeared, some good, many exploitative. Koa had no control over his image. He had complicated feelings about fame. Population estimates for his people, 200 to 300 remaining, fewer than hoped. Some sightings were confirmed in protected areas. One family group was photographed from distance in 2019. Koa was shown the photos. He wept for hours, recognizing clothing patterns. He was never reunited with his people. Too dangerous for them. He made a living sacrifice, alone among humans, to save those in the wild. Today, Koa is approximately 54 years old. His health is declining, old injuries, stress taking toll. He lives in semi-retirement in a protected facility in Washington. He writes, published a memoir called between two worlds. He makes occasional public appearances. He still advocates for habitat protection, but he's lonely despite being surrounded by people. I'm 58 now, still work as a consultant. I visit Koa weekly, the only times he seems truly happy. I never remarried, never moved on. I live alone on different property. My regret, I gave him to the world. Sometimes I wonder if I should have kept him hidden. My pride, but his people have a chance now. That's what matters. The species has protected habitat for now. Climate change threatens their territories. Logging pressure is constant. Population is stable, but not recovering. The future is uncertain. Koa's exposure bought time, not salvation. The government still wants more access to Koa. Periodic health checks are required. DNA samples are archived. Surveillance is constant. Koa cooperates but resents the lack of freedom. Legally a person, practically a ward of the state. Last week during my visit, Koa placed his massive hand on my shoulder, the way he used to in the barn when we were alone, when life was simpler. "Thank you, Jim," he said, "for everything, for seeing me when you could have looked away." I put my hand over his. "Thank you for trusting me, for speaking, for being brave enough to believe humanity could be better." We sat like that, two old friends who saved each other once, who destroyed and rebuilt each other's lives, who carry the weight of impossible choices together. The handlers watched, the cameras recorded, but for that moment, we were back in the barn. Just us, just brothers who found each other in the woods. People ask me all the time, "Do you regret it? Helping him that first day, going public?" I don't regret finding him. That moment, seeing intelligence in his eyes, choosing compassion over fear, that made me who I am. But going public? Some days I'm certain it was right. Koa's people have legal protections. Habitat is preserved. The world knows they exist, knows they matter. Other days, I visit Koa in his comfortable prison and think, I stole his freedom to give his species a chance. Was that my choice to make? I gave up a normal life. Could have had children, grandchildren, friends. Instead, I have a small apartment, a job studying the creature I used to live beside, and supervised visits with my best friend Koa paid more. He's famous, the first Sasquatch to speak to humanity. But he's alone in a way I'll never understand. Too human for the forest, too other for society. He told me once, "I am the bridge no one wanted, too far from shore on both sides to rest." But here's what matters. Koa's people are alive, not thriving, but surviving. The protections work. There are maybe 200 of them out there, hidden in protected zones, living their lives. Koa will never see them again. But one family group left something at the edge of their territory in 2019. A structure, woven branches, specific pattern. Koa saw photos and started crying. "That's our way," he said. "That's the blessing pattern. They know what I did. They're saying thank you." That moment made everything worth it. I learned that personhood isn't about species. It's about consciousness, compassion, the capacity to love and grieve and hope. Koa is more of a person than many humans I've met. I learned that doing the right thing rarely feels good. It feels complicated and costly, and sometimes wrong even when it's right. I learned that the world is bigger and stranger than we admit. Koa's people lived alongside us for millennia, and we called them myths. What else are we blind to? Most importantly, I learned what friendship means, real friendship. The kind where you sacrifice everything for each other, where you become family when family abandons you, where you make impossible choices and live with consequences together. If you're reading this, understand. Koa isn't special because he's Sasquatch. He's special because he's Koa. Smart, funny, kind, brave. Despite being terrified, he trusted humanity when he had no reason to. His people are out there in forests we haven't destroyed yet. They're not monsters or mysteries. They're people trying to survive. Leave them alone. Protect their land. Let them live in peace. That's all Koa ever wanted. I see Koa every week, but we're never really alone anymore. Someone's always watching, recording, documenting. If I could take him back to that barn when it was just us, rain on the roof, him asking about stars, me reading poetry while he drew pictures of forests he remembered, I would in a heartbeat. I'd give up everything we accomplished, just to give him back his privacy, his freedom, his peace. But I can't. What's done is done. So instead, I tell him every visit, "You did good, your people are safer, you made the right choice." And he tells me, "I know, but I miss the barn." "Me too," I say, "me too." Some secrets are meant to be kept, others are meant to be told. The trick is knowing which is which before it's too late. I kept Koa's secret for 12 years. Then I helped him tell it to the world. Both felt right at the time, both feel right and wrong in retrospect. But here's what I know for certain. Koa taught me that humanity isn't about species. It's about recognition, seeing another being's consciousness and honoring it. That was his gift. Understanding that the definition of we is bigger than we think. That personhood is a circle we draw too small. That intelligence, emotion, and the right to exist aren't human privileges. They're universal rights. I'll carry that truth until I die. Because Koa spoke. Not just words, but truth. And having heard him, I can never unhear it. They do matter. He matters. Some truths are worth any price. Koa was right about that, and I'll never stop being grateful and guilty that I learned it from him.